Okay, clase, hoy, today we are going to talk about nouns in español. Nouns or sustantivos, you should all know what those are. Person, place, thing, idea, quality, that kind of idea. But in Spanish, there's a way that they classify nouns that's a little bit different than in English. In Spanish, they use gender to classify all nouns. So what am I talking about? We're going to go over that. You should know that gender is the idea of masculine and feminine. And so we're going to talk about how that relates to Spanish. It's always useful to go back to English and compare the language that we're most familiar with to the new language. So let's take a look at some of these nouns. We have the book, the teacher, the table, the lights, the day, the computers, the month. All of them start with a the, and all of them have an object or a person or a place. Some of them are plural, and most of them are singular. This the is what is called a definite article. That name is not super important, although in the future we will be studying the idea of a definite article versus an indefinite article. But for now, what you need to know is that we have your the, your article, and then your noun. Okay, so in Spanish, we're talking about sustantivos. That's how you say noun in Spanish. And we mentioned that there's a particular classification system that doesn't exist in English, and it goes by gender. Okay, I'm going to start giving you some examples of some nouns, and I want you to consider what are the two ways that they're classified and what are the characteristics of those two groupings. So here we have our groupings. We have side 1 and side 2. I'll tell you that side 1 is considered masculine. Doesn't mean that only the boys use these things. It just means that as a classification system in the language of Spanish, these words are classified as masculine. These words over here on the right in group 2 are classified as feminine. Whoops, I can't spell. Feminine. In Spanish, that would be masculino, and this would be femenino. So let's take a look. What do you see here? What's different about group 1 from group 2? El ojo means the eye, el libro, the book, el cuaderno, the notebook, el bolígrafo, the pen, el escritorio, the desk, more like a teacher's desk. Side 2, we have la naranja. That's the color orange or an actual orange. La taza is a cup. La silla, chair. La mesa, the table. La puerta, the door. Some of these words should be familiar to you already. So we have side 1, side 2. What characteristics do you see in side 1? And what characteristics do you see in side 2? What do all the masculine words have in common? And what do all of these feminine words have in common? Some of you are already like, oh, I got this. I know. I totally know it. Okay, so el is how you say the for masculine nouns. And if I write el ojo, the eye, and if I write el libro, the book, and if I write el cuaderno, the notebook, you should notice a certain quality that all of these words have in common. Does everybody have it? Can you see? Okay, well, just in case it's not clear, most, but I will say most and not all, most masculine words will end in O. be really clear that I did not say all masculine words will end in O. I said most. This is a general pattern that you'll find. There are some words, though, that you're just going to have to memorize as masculine. Now, for feminine words, you say la for the. And what did you notice most of the feminine words had in common? If I say la mesa and la silla and la puerta. Now, most of you should be noticing it's very obvious, especially after the last slide, words that are feminine, most words that are feminine, end in an ah. I always think of this as the little flip of the hair. Flip. So most feminine nouns end in a, which means you use a la for your the. Again, please remember, I said most, not all. So to review, masculino and femenino. We have el niño. Your el is the way you say the, and you see it matches the O of the word. And in femenino, you have your la, and it matches the a in your word. Okay, so to get credit for watching this video, you need to do two things. First off, you need to show me notes from the beginning of this slide or from all of this presentation. To show me notes in your notebook tomorrow in class or whenever I see you next in class to show me that you've watched it and you've taken notes on the grammar. Secondly, you need to complete this exercise. The first thing on this exercise that I want you to do is to come up with 3 words that are masculine that end in O. And I want you to come in with 3 words that are feminine and end in a. And I do not want these words to be words I've already used. You need to find other words, either from our vocabulary lists online or from words that you look up on your own. That's fine. Okay, and then second thing I want you to do is to come up with some of the words we've already seen that do not follow the O or the A ending rules. In other words, I want you to come up with 3 masculine words that break the ending in O rule. And I want you to come up with 3 feminine words that break the ending in A rules. Maybe you'll find words that end in Z's. Or maybe you'll find a word that ends in an N. Or maybe you'll find a word that could even end in an R. Whatever letter it might be, I want it to be something other than the O and the A. But I still need to know if it's a masculine word or a feminine word. And if it's a masculine word, you'll see it will still begin with an L. And if it's a feminine word, you'll see it'll still begin with a la. And then for those smarty pants out there, extra credit. Working ahead a little bit. Can you find what happens to L and la when our nouns become plural? That's what I want you to bring in. And if you bring in this extra assignment, I'll give you an extra credit on your homework. See you next class.